If you're looking for stinkers in the MCU, you really don't have to look far. The current phase, at least in TV and movies, have been more than mid. Like, mid would be a compliment, to be honest. The high points of the MCU were definitely Endgame and Infinity War, with Infinity War probably being one of the best of them all. If you ask me, it definitely is the best. It's over Endgame. It serves as a much more cohesive story or standalone plot. And to be honest, it could have worked as a standalone movie with Endgame being the conclusion, and it honestly still would have been great. Knowing what you know of background information of the characters, watching Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America team up to fight a universal threat would definitely go over pretty simple with common audiences. This idea would make every other movie in the MCU just filler. Every movie where the character fights a big bad, which is basically a reflection of the hero's mistake. And most of the time, the big bad is ended up being killed by the end of the credits. The introduction to Spider-Man was pretty weak, honestly. In those 3 films, I never felt like Peter did anything exceptionally heroic. Not up to amazing Spider-Man standards. With that being said, the movie added nothing to not only the world of Spider-Man, at least according to the MCU, but the character of Peter Parker itself. It basically just uses the old Spider-Man as a crutch, along with the performances of the villains. No Way Home is fan service the movie. All Marvel TV is bad, no exceptions. Daredevil had a chance, and at least opposed to some of the other Netflix series that kind of burned out quickly. Even the Defenders was pretty lukewarm. The Disney Plus shows are all terrible. They haven't given me any type of enjoyment. They all suck. Even one of my favorite characters, Moon Knight, couldn't really keep me along like the 6 episodes, 8 episodes, however many episodes it was. The plots seem a little bit too linear and not as interconnected to the MCU as a whole. And even with shows like Loki that are supposed to expand the universe, it honestly makes these series seem more insignificant. So with Kang as a villain, I mean, Kang will definitely provide, pretty high stakes for, whoever the current Avengers roster will be at the time. But the build-up doesn't necessarily match the hype. Kang is cool, but just give us Secret Wars. That's really what we want. Better yet, make Secret Wars into a miniseries instead of wasting our time with Disney Plus shows such as House of Harkness. I feel like something as integral to Marvel lore as the introduction of the Illuminati in that one movie should have left some sort of larger ramifications on the MCU as a whole. Let's just say the destruction or the death of that Illuminati in that universe could pave the way for something a little bit more deadly, right? A new threat threatens not only that current universe, but the multiverse as a whole. I'm thinking something like God King Doom.
I am Uatu, the Watcher. I prevented your deaths, for you are needed to save this universe. Listen closely, mortals. Dr. Doom's unrestrained use of Odin's power will soon tear the fabric of reality beyond repair. Much has transpired since you were last on Earth. Mankind did its best to defend itself against Doom. But even their greatest weapons were as nothing before Doom's power. The heroes of your world also tried to stop Doom and paid the ultimate price. Use his powers to corrupt. And with this discovery, Doom began corrupting.
That definitely won't happen. But that leads me to my next point. If DC claims to be the more serious between the two companies, they definitely aren't shy about bringing some of their more obscure characters to screen. They even have a specific movie series that highlights D-listers, E-listers, F-listers when it comes to the DC roster. I feel like Marvel needs to get a little bit more wackier, not only with their character rosters, but with the tone. That doesn't mean more jokes. Thor: Love and Thunder showed that more jokes doesn't necessarily make a better movie. Opposed to Doctor Strange having not as many jokes, the MCU formula still is the same. But more jokes doesn't mean wackier. Wacky situations is something like the Deadpool crossover we've been waiting for. Galactus level threats, solved in one movie, not like this overarching narrative leading into the next film. Like, let's say Galactus shows up for one film and then by the end of the movie it's wrapped up. You know what? Speaking of endings, if No Way Home ended with Peter Parker in college rooming with the boy Bobby, can't even think of his last name. What is it? Drake? Whatever it is. Iceman from the X-Men. It's his roommate at MIT. A post-credit scene featuring an X-Men and Spider-Man crossover, or Peter and Bobby, that definitely would spark all different kinds of possibilities and fan hype. Who would not want to watch a live-action Spider-Man and his amazing friends? Definitely would be something that the fans could look forward to, opposed to their new layout that they've posted up from Comic-Con. I assume D23 is going to have some more reveals, but for what we have right now, it doesn't seem like a whole lot of creativity is going to be coming out of the Marvel camp. If you want a better Marvel story, you better off writing it yourself, and that's on everything. Peace.